Regular meeting of the Town of Florence Planning and Zoning Commission is now in session. The date is April 20th, 2017, and the time is 6 p.m. Oh, I better get the card out. Thanks. Ms. Orton, would you take the roll, please?
Chairman Franklin?
Present.
Chairman Patrick?
Present.
Commissioner Bell?
Present.
Commissioner Smith?
Present.
Commissioner Carr?
Present.
We have a quorum. Would you all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Discussion, approval, disapproval of the minutes of the regular meeting conducted on February 16, 2017. Do we have any comments?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes. I'll second it.
Motion made by Commissioner Bell, seconded by Commissioner Puttrick. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. New business. Anthem at Merrill Ranch, Unit 3, PZ 1715. This is a approval, disapproval of a preliminary plat application for Unit 3 at Anthem at Merrill Ranch submitted by Pulte Group, Inc. Do we have a presentation?
Yes, we do. Well, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Michelle Orton, and I am the new senior planner for the Planning and Zoning Department here at the Town of Florence. And we have lost our planner, Will Randolph. He is no longer with the town.
Michelle?
Yes.
Could you save that when we have discussion?
Okay, sure.
For the staff? Thank you.
The Anthem at Merrill Ranch, Unit 3, they are requesting they're requesting approval of the preliminary plat application for Anthem at Merrill Ranch, Unit 3. This is submitted by the Pulte Group, Incorporated. It is located west of the southwest corner of Felix Road and Merrill Ranch Parkway. Pulte Group, Incorporated is going through the process of platting and engineering, in order to have more available lots ready for new homes within the Parkside area of the Anthem Merrill Ranch community. There are 90 single-family residential lots on proposed nearly 25 acres of subdivision. The neighborhood streets in this area are designed and constructed with a 40-foot right-of-way, which is consistent with their planned unit development, their PUD. Also, the improvement plans and the final plat for the unit will reflect modifications to the local street sidewalk standards to ensure ADA compliance. The resulting density for this particular subdivision is 3.68 dwelling units per acre. And as you know, the entire Anthem at Merrill Ranch is 3.5, but they each have a different amount that do account to 3.5 dwelling units per acre.
Let me interrupt.
Sure.
Do we have a presentation?
There you go. All right, and that shows the 90 dwelling units, 25 plus or minus acres. The density is 3.68, and if you will note, it says Anthem at Merrill Ranch is a PUD, and its overall single-family residential density is 3.5 dwelling units per acre. The Town of Florence Public Works and Fire Department staff has reviewed the proposed subdivision and support this unit advancing to the final plat process. Final comments from these departments will be addressed on the civil plans for this unit. Staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve this preliminary plat with the set of conditions, which are basically the same as all other preliminary plats. I will go ahead and read them this one time. Development of subdivision shall comply with all applicable town codes, including all applicable planning, building, and the fire and engineering requirements. Developer, property owner is responsible for all applicable street dedications and improvements at the time the subdivision is developed, except as otherwise approved by the town of Florence. The Fire and Public Works Department retained the right to address additional development details for the subdivision, such as, but not limited to, easements, dedications, stormwater and drainage improvements, ADA compliance, and fire hydrant placements during the reviews of the civil plans of final plats for the subject unit. Any conditional conditions deemed necessary by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay, I'll open it up to the commissioners. Do we have any questions for staff?
No, I don't have any.
Please.
Michelle, I just had a quick question. In looking at the layout here in several of these retention basins, it looks like we have areas that a normal police officer doing his route through there would not be able to see back into some of these areas. And I wonder if our police department, as they review these, look for kind of hidden spots like that where nefarious activities could be taking place without them being able to see them on their normal rounds. Much of the area is quite open, but there are a few little notches in there where it'd be completely invisible to an officer doing normal rounds.
These are not directed to the police department. They are sent to the fire department, and they are available for all TRC members, which is our technical review committee.
Okay, so being the newbie here, the police department does not necessarily review these.
Correct.
I have a question for the Pulte representative. If you'd state your name and address.
My name is Jared Baxter. I work for Baxter Design Group, the engineer of the project.
Okay, Jerry.
Pulte.
Mr. Baxter.
Yes.
I'll ask this once for all of the plats.
Okay.
Are any of them in the flood zone?
None of them are in the flood zone.
Thank you, sir.
That's quick.
Do I have any other questions or comments?
Oh, I'm good.
May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve, if I look at that, Ranch Unit 3, PZ 17-5.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Bell, second by Commissioner Schmidt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. New business, Anthem at Merrill Ranch, Unit 5, PZ 1717. This is approval, disapproval of preliminary plat application for Unit 5 at Anthem at Merrill Ranch, submitted by Pulte Group, Inc. Again?
Michelle Orton, Senior Planner for the Town of Florence. This is Anthem at Merrill Ranch, Unit 5. This request is a request for approval of the preliminary plat application for Anthem at Merrill Ranch, Unit 5. Just like the other one, it is, like I said, Anthem at Merrill Ranch. It's up on the board for you. This is the same area. All three of these plats are in the same location, except this one has 75 dwelling units. The size is 19 plus or minus acres, and the density is 3.96 dwelling units per acre. And they also have the 40-foot right-of-way, and they are in compliance. Staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve this preliminary plat.
Ms. Thornton, I noticed that the density is starting to climb.
Yes.
Why?
Well, if you note on the bottom, it says, please note Anthem Ranch at Merrill Ranch is a PUD. Overall single-family residential density is 3.5. We have some plats that have a 2 point.
So what's our average now?
Pardon me?
What's our average now? I'm sorry, sir, I can't hear you.
For what's currently platted versus what's open space or future units, you have less than 1 unit per acre for the entire thing. For the overall density, we'd have over 9,000 units before we'd be coming close to a 3.5 dwelling units per acre.
Okay,
Currently, we have platted approximately 3,000 lots, is what we're looking at right now. But we don't hit that threshold of the 3.5 for the overall development. It's a little over 9,000 units before we hit that threshold.
okay. So the target remains at 3.5 and you're well below it?
Yes, we're well below that at this time, yes.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners?
Nope.
I just have a quick question. I'm curious about the street lighting.
There's current street lighting standards with the town of Florence, and the street lighting standards are being followed. As civil drawings are brought forward, we also have to bring forward street light design that shows the spacing, shows the wattage of the bulbs. All that is approved through the town Public Works Department.
Any other comments or questions?
Nope.
All right, I'll move that we approve Anthem at Merrill Ranch Unit 5, PZ 1717. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I'm having a brain fart. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried.
Chairman, excuse me, who did the first and who did the second on that motion?
I knew you were going to do that. The first, Commissioner Pranzo did. The second, raise your hand. Commissioner Schmidt. That was the brain fart.
Okay.
All right. Anthem at Merrill Ranch Unit 7, PZ 1718. This is approval, disapproval of a preliminary plat application for Unit 7 at the Anthem at Merrill Ranch submitted by Pulte Group, Inc.
Michelle Orton, Senior Planner for the Town of Florence. This is the final of these three subdivisions. This is a request for approval of the preliminary plat of Anthem at Merrill Ranch, Unit 7. This is also located in the northwest corner of Felix Road and Independence Way. There are 87 dwelling units, 26 plus or minus acres, and the density for this one is 3.3 dwelling units per acre. Staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve this preliminary plat.
Open it up to the commission for questions or comments. Any questions or comments? Everybody's happy? May I have a motion?
I'll recommend that we approve Anthem at Merrill Ranch, Unit 7, PZ 17-18.
I'll second. We have a motion by Commissioner Bell, second by Commissioner Puttrick. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Anthem at Merrill Ranch pre-plat extension, PZ 1731. This is approval, disapproval of a preliminary plat extension for Anthem at Merrill Ranch Units 31, 33, 35A, 35B, 37, submitted by Southwest Value Partners. Ms. Orton.
Michelle Orton, Senior Planner for the Town of Florence. This is a request for a preliminary plat extension for Merrill Ranch. And this is for units 31, 33, 35A, 35B, and 37. And these units are on the west side of Hunt Highway and south of the proposed extension of Merrill Ranch Parkway. There is a total of 570 single-family lots. These have all had preliminary approval. The applicant is requesting an additional approval on an additional 6 month, I guess it's a 6 month approval.
Extension?
Extension, yeah, and staff recommends approval.
How long ago did we approve the original?
Yeah, why 6 months?
These were brought before you a year ago, in April of 2016 is
So you need it now or it'll fall apart.
So we need to now, the way the preliminary plat approvals work with the town is you have a year approval, and then you can ask for 6 months extensions after that.
How's your horizon look to breaking the ground over there?
Very good. It's actually, I mentioned this to Commissioner Patrick a little bit ago. What's happening here is these lots are held by Southwest Value Partners. The lots that are on the next case, north of Merrill Ranch Parkway, was also held by Southwest Value Partners, but has subsequently been sold to Joe Cockey Real Estate Development. They are both actively pursuing builders other than Pulte to come down here and build on these sites. We have some very good leads, not under contract as of yet, but very good leads from both parties on both sides of this road here, as far as bringing additional builders to the area, which, in my opinion, augments the amount of traffic that would come down to this area to actually buy homes, which would increase Pulte's traffic too at the same time.
And you are Southwest Partners?
I am not I represent Southwest Partners. I'm their engineer on that site also, so I have engineered all the lots and pre-platted all those lots a year ago, and then we'll be engineering them too.
Lucky you. Okay. Do we have any questions or comments about the extension?
Have you met with Mr. Johnson on the wall we requested on the initial?
The wall next to the sewer treatment plant?
Next to the sewer
We have
plant.
not set that in place yet. Really, it's got to be a builder who's going to purchase that lot with an agreement with Mr. Johnson on that. We anticipate that we've put that in our documentation to the builders who are coming in here, that there will be a common wall. Because there's been some discussion, if you remember a year ago, whether it was a 6-foot wall or whether it needed to be an 8-foot wall.
Right, and it was supposed to
along
be a
there.
meeting.
That was part of the discussion. We've disclosed that in the papers that are being presented to builders out there. At such a time when they build it, we need a joint wall agreement between them and Johnson Utilities on that wall itself. So yes, that's still in play. That's still being noted. That it's got to be a requirement.
And that has to come back in front of us before the wall is built, where we can approve it or disapprove the.
Well, the approval will be, they have to meet design requirements of the town of Florence. They'll be presenting their wall design. They'll be presenting their house designs as part of a, what we call it, a design review package.
Right.
That builder will have to bring that in for your approval through the planning commission. At that point in time, yes, you will have a chance to look at that wall at that point in time. That's my understanding.
Thank you.
You know, these are preliminary plats, so they have to come back and get funded.
Do we have any other questions or comments?
Is 6 months reasonable?
That's the way the town code is right now. So what the town code allows us to do is do 2 6-month extensions. We've requested back in the initial time period, it would make more sense to do year extensions, but we haven't changed the town code up to this point to do that. So we're kind of handcuffed with what the current town code is.
Right.
What I see what's going to happen here is obviously you're going to have builders come online, pick off a unit at a time and want to expand. So I think the town staff and us are trying to work out a way to where we're not continually coming back for extension upon extension upon extension, as long as there's movement in the area. The code's set up in such a way that you don't have dead subdivisions just sitting out there with nothing happening on them. So I can understand that, but in today's market, 6 months is kind of a little short for a time period.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder, at the county, we do, we've tightened it up. We do 2-year extensions at the county.
Yeah.
And we are not renewing some of those temporary plats that have been around for 10 years. We're no longer renewing.
Well, you don't want plats sitting out there for that long. But with the current market, you know, the 1-year extension would be nice, or even that 2-year like the county does would be nice, because you just need to get some momentum going here. We're not in the 2005, 2006 housing races that were back in the day. So, but with the current town code, this is kind of what we have to follow right now.
Well, I'm interested in encouraging building, so everything we can do to do that. And that's my comment.
You need jobs, buddy.
Okay. On these plats, I'm noticing that there's everywhere from 5.0 to 473 to 3.22.
Since you knew, Commissioner, let me explain a little bit about the entire development. I've been here since the inception of this development part of the PUD. part of our development agreement, our PD agreement, we consistently said we're going to go to a 3.5 density per development wide. Now, development wide includes washes, includes golf courses, includes open spaces, park spaces, all that stuff. So all those open spaces aren't directly abutting subdivisions, but they are dedicated as part of open space. So the golf course has been dedicated to open space, the parks have been dedicated to open spaces, and the washes are also. So when we get units that directly abut those open spaces, we end up with a density of barely over 1, 1.2, 1 point something. But when we get into these other subdivisions that don't have any of these open spaces directly above, directly touching them, now we get into that 4 point something. Again, if you look at the development wide, until we hit about that 9,000, a little over 9,000 lots, we're not approaching that 3.5.
We're not even close until we get to that 9,000.
Until we hit the 9,000 lots, we're not even close to that.
Because these don't have any washes or anything, they're more dense.
Yes. So that's what's kind of going on over here next to the west side of Hunt. There's not these big open spaces. There's washes that do go through them, but there's not these big open spaces like the golf course.
Makes perfect sense.
Okay, so it's a good question. It's just, you got to look at it as a big picture instead of just a little subdivision picture.
That's a learning curve for me.
Any other questions or comments? May I have a motion?
I move that we approve the extension of case number PZ 17-31.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Polchak and second by Commissioner Schmidt. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Anthem Merrill Ranch pre-plat extension, PZ 1732. Anthem Merrill Ranch units 41, 43, 45, 46, 49, and 51 submitted by Jokaki Development Services.
Michelle Lorton, Senior Planner for the Town of Florence. This is just like the one before. It is a preliminary plat extension, and as you mentioned, it's for units 41, 43, 45, 47, 49, and 51. These units are also west of Hunt Highway, and they are north of the proposed extension. The other ones you had seen were south. This gives you a better idea. So you'll see Merrill Ranch is at the south portion, and then these are north of it, of the proposed parkway. And again, they are requesting an approval for a preliminary plat extension. There are 701 single-family lots here, and staff recommends approval.
Do we have any questions or comments?
I move that we approve the temporary plat extension for PZ 17-32.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Polchak, second by Commissioner Bell. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Call of the public, commission response. Call of the public for public comment on issues within the jurisdiction of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Individual commission members may respond to criticisms made, may ask staff to review a matter raised, or may ask that the matter be put on a future agenda. However, members of the commission shall not discuss or take action on any matter during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. Do I have any public comments? Going once, going twice. Close call to the public. Call to the commission. Current events only. Gentlemen, anything?
I don't have anything.
Close to the commission. Staff, if you would like. Well, I'm not going to close the commission. I have one thing to do. Sorry. Roll the camera back. I'd like to introduce our newest commissioner, Commissioner Frost. Everybody applaud. Thank you, sir, for joining our group. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Schmidt, second by Commissioner Puttrick. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? We are adjourned.